Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Jacob Restituto, and I'm a musician from Northport, New York. And today we're taking a look at BTS's lyrics. We're going to start going through some of these lyrics. Now, I've heard a lot of these songs. What we're going to do is the ones that I've heard the song for. So I've heard the music. I might have even made a guitar version of the music, or whatever the case being. I've heard the song, whether it be once, several times. And now I want to kind of go a little deeper into the lyrics, because there's so many people commenting on how the lyrics are so meaningful and so powerful. But it's hard for me to focus for a couple of reasons while listening to the song, because I like making music and I make music for a living. So the fact that it's hard, I get distracted with all the cool things that are going on with the music when the actual lyrics are being sung. Plus, it's hard to follow along without with the music going on, because they don't always line up. So I actually want to read them and kind of get a feel for what they're trying to say. And I know that some people want to hear it with the music, but if you want to hear the reaction breakdowns, then you could check out those videos too. Because just type in Jacob Restituto. Oh, sorry, I thought my stream ended for some reason because I'm filming this on live stream. So let's see what we got. So we're gonna start up with this. We have the first one we have is Blue and Gray, obviously, because you saw the title of this video. So it starts off with the lyric, where is my angel? At the end of the day, casting its shadow. You can hear Bullet is saying what's up to the live stream. So, someone come please save me. Please, someone come save me, please. It's the only sigh of the exhausting day. So what's interesting, what's actually really fascinating about these lyrics and the translations is some of the rhyme schemes are meant for their the native language, whatever language that might be, whether it be Japanese, Korean, English, depending on the song. It's fascinating to see their different what's it called, the different rhyme schemes, how sometimes they don't actually all line up, which is very interesting. So where's my angel? At the end of the day, casting its shadow, someone come please save me. Why are some, oh, maybe these are actually background lyrics because they're in like background because they're in italics. It seems like people all are happy. Can you look at me because I'm blue and gray? The meaning of my tears that are reflected in the mirror is the color that is hidden under my smile. These are, man, it's interesting. They're really good at making these metaphors. See, these are super. It's cool to see this because it's just a new way of reading it, because you can actually see the depth into what they're talking about. So really cool. So we obviously have the name of the song, Blue and Gray. Oh, okay. Okay. So somebody said in the chat, thank you for this. The italicized lyrics are ones that are actually in English. That's cool. Okay, that's good to know. From when it went wrong, I'm not really sure. When I was young, there'd been a blue question mark in my mind. Interesting. Which is a reference from Sugar's interlude. In my head, these wanderings that are full of blue. Interesting. That's kind of cool to reference another song. I like that. It's almost like an Easter egg of a song. So that's pretty wild. Perhaps that's why I live fiercely. But as I look back, standing there absently, that ferocious shadow engulfs me. Interesting, because they use some pretty big words. It's actually pretty wild. It's more than just talking about the so for example, okay, let me break this down a little bit more. What's fascinating about lyrics is in English, I feel like there's a bunch of words that we use, and sometimes songwriters, and very often actually songwriters, especially in pop style music, don't use these bigger words because the words that we don't use a lot, which is just interesting. Like engulfs me or ferocious or some of these big words. I think it's cool because whether they fit natively in their language, or whether it be the fact that it's just different in different languages, the kinds of words that they use. To use words like ferocious or engulf me, they're just bigger words, and it's actually really interesting. Because normally, so what I would probably say, maybe in English, the difference, I feel like it's usually simpler words, which I always appreciate when artists are actually able to use big words in songs, because it's harder to do that and make it sound cool. That's what I'm trying to say. So that in English, maybe there's something would have been something would have been written like that fierce shadow that surrounds me. You know what I mean? It's a little less heady. You know what I mean? Which is very, very interesting to see the difference in like the translation, which is kind of cool actually. The blue question mark that still exists. Would it be anxiety or depression? Unease, the gloom, not to be confused with clinical anxiety or depression. Interesting. Could it be that humans are really animals of regret? Holy mackerel, that's a good lyric, man. That is a real, that's an interesting food for thought, man. That's really, really, really interesting. Could it be that humans are really animals of regret? I think that humans could totally be animals of regret if we talk about like, but I think we could be if you choose to regret it. You could either regret or learn from your mistakes, and then it's not really regret, but it's actually a learning experience. Really interesting. That's actually a really interesting line, man. So apparently the green text are the background information, additional references. Okay. Interesting. Good to know. Thank you. And I recognize that these might not be direct translations, but still you know what's actually kind of interesting is it's almost like something that I would be familiar with and relate this to kind of would be potentially like something like reading some of the Psalms in the Bible, because those were originally written in a different language with a different rhyme scheme, but they were originally songs. So when you read them, you sometimes they don't always rhyme or seem like they fit in English style song, but you can't compare them to an English style song because they weren't written in English. That's like taking an English song. Okay, here's a great example. I've written in English and I want to translate to Spanish. Some of the words don't fit. Some of the rhyme schemes don't fit. Some of the syllables don't fit. So it's always very interesting to see like the translation, how it actually comes about, because it's more almost like a story, I feel like. But this is very interesting. My goal with this is to try to just understand a little bit more about the lyrics and kind of get an idea what the song is about. And also, I like reading lyrics as a songwriter because it gives me ideas on my own songs, and I think it's a good learning experience. You know, it's like an architect that goes and looks at other people's art, you know, like or buildings. I still don't know the ferocious blue. Again, pretty big word again, ferocious. Hoping I don't get eaten away, I'll find the exit. I just want to be happier. Please warm me who is cold. Please warm me who is cold. My hands that I reached out countless times. The echo is colorless. Really interesting motif of color coming on here. Echoes on this ground that feels so heavier. I am singing by myself. I just want to be happier. This is interesting, man, and it's wild to see how like so many artists sing about this style of lyrics or words, because I think that so often we feel that way, and we're just kind of expressing it. Like I have a bunch of songs like this, like talking about just wanting to be happier. And it's interesting because like there's a hope that you will be one day, and you know you do your best to try and get there. The sound of my heart breathing faster. Interesting. Your heart breathing. Is that supposed to say beating or actually? If it's breathing, it's actually a very cool lyric. Because okay, let me finish that. The sound of my heart breathing faster that I felt while walking in the cold winter on the cold winter streets. The sound of my heart breathing faster that I felt. What's actually really interesting is, if that actually was not a mistranslation, it's supposed to be beating, it would actually be pretty cool to do that. I like when artists, you know who does this a lot? Matty Healy from the 1975 will like use the wrong term of a thing. So for example, like, you know, like, I don't know, like he would say something along the lines of, this isn't an actual lyric, but like essentially kiss your nose and smell your lips. Kind of sounds a little weird, but it's like, you know, like something like that, where it's like you kind of switch the actual meaning, but it's like it's a unique way of kind of expressing it. So like breathing, your heart breathing. It's kind of a cool lyric, man. I would still feel it. Don't say you're okay because you aren't. truth, man. There's a facade of like you have to pretend on this, put on this mask, that you think that you're okay, or tell people you're okay, even though sometimes you're not, which is actually wild. Please don't leave yourself. Please don't leave yourself alone. It hurts so much. The road that I always walk along, the light that shines on me, but the steam that feels unfamiliar today for some reason. Would it be that I became numb to it? Would it be that I collapsed? But it does feel heavy, this lump of metal, a gray rhino. Man, again, here comes with this color scheme again. Very interesting. Very interesting. Gray rhino is an economic finance term used to describe a highly probable, high-impact threat often neglected. Like a gray rhino, the threat of gloomy, anxious internal emotions in the song. That's very interesting. So I've struggled with anxiety before, and what's interesting about this is like the way I wouldn't like. I've never heard that finance term. That's really interesting. But sometimes the way I would describe it sometimes would be like this feeling of like you're like kind of almost feeling anxious, but you're not anxious yet, and it's like almost like this feeling like, hey, I feel like something's gonna happen. It almost feels like there's this dog, like this snarling dog, like staring at you right here. It's like I can't look over there because as soon as if I look over there, I'm gonna feel anxious about whatever I'm feeling anxious about. It's like just waiting, and that's an interesting translation or term that I've never heard before. Absently, I stand with eyes vacant. It's not like me this moment. I just have no fear. I don't believe in God. That's called conviction. Interesting that this is lowercase g. Wordplay. It is conviction. Assurance means God. Side note, I've received questions, but use of God. Interesting. You can read this line. I don't believe in the concept of conviction. Interesting. The words color or light color make me feel cringy. I like that. It's funny. It's a cool lyric. I feel comfortable with the vast gray area. Another reference from there. Interesting. Here is the gray of 100 million facial expressions. When it rains, it's my world. I dance upon the city. On a clear day, it gives me some fog. On a rainy day, together always. Raise a glass for all the dusts here. Really, they use a lot of like describing words, man. It's very fascinating. Wow, I like how they give a lot of background. I just want to be happier. Please feel the warmth in my hands because it's they aren't it's because they are not warm that I need you even more. Who is the you that they're talking about? On this ground feels so heavier. I'm singing to myself in the distant future. When I get to smile, I'll tell you that there was such time. Side note, we know that the distant future has arrived because they are singing about the time, telling us the time. So what's interesting is like from a songwriter's perspective, I think that it's cool because you can write a song like after something happens, almost like you could talk about having that feeling, and then almost it like ending, like so it's almost like a story. Like you could talk about that anxious moment or these feelings of times of feeling anxious, but then also how it ended, kind of thing. It's just a different way of doing it. After secretly collecting the words that wandered in the void, now I fall asleep at dawn. Good night. Fall asleep at dawn. Interesting. So, from what I gather and from what you guys have talked about, I assume that this is about feeling like anxious and depressed, but the desire to want to feel happier and the belief that one day you will be happier, that the happiness will end up coming, which is very interesting. I really appreciated the big words that they were using. It was very unique style of words. So this was interesting to see. It's kind of cool to get a little bit more insight into this. I hope you guys are enjoying this. It's different. I know that the music isn't in the I'm not listening to the music. Like I said, it's a little distracting for me to try and read the words and try to understand what's going on, try to learn from their actual. What I'm trying to do here is trying to learn from their songwriting process, and it'll be hard for me to do without with the song actually going. So if you want to see my reaction to the song, you could definitely consider checking out the other videos. And I'm up for your opinion, so leave a comment below. God bless and peace out.